Let's just save. Always remember to save. Just in case you do something that you're not sure about. And then once it crashes, you lose a lot of progress. And no one really wants that. Alright, so that will just work as basic clip for now. Now if you want things to look super like polished and very accurate, I highly suggest using a reference. Because over the years, the human species has witnessed and seen many objects. And the brain kind of just goes, that doesn't look right. Why doesn't it look right? It's because it's not the same what it's experienced in the past. For example, if you do like sci-fi, you see sci-fi movies, it's a prime example, right? Sure, it's fantasy, it's fiction, right? But there's a few elements that are taken from real world references, essentially, right? Some buildings will have like dung beetles, like shell, the horns, or the praying mantis. Animals is a prime example, or like organic alien buildings. And then you have like, I don't know, steampunk with all its mechanical gears and ingenuity of how it works. You know, like, okay, this big gear spins a little bit slower than the smaller gear, right? It's less rotations. And yeah, the brain just kind of like figures it out and says, "No, that's wrong." You know? Maybe not there. Front would be. Now, essentially, if I was to clip this, I would clip this. Yeah, actually, I would clip it on that leg. Bring this out a little bit. A bit too big. Now, this is where my pinch tool comes in handy. Oh, I want to make it thinner. Pinch, you know? And move it into space. Oh, so this leg wrapped quite close to Michael's body, and pretty close to where it should be. So what I have to do, move the plastic. Even though the plastic is a harder material, there is still some tension. For the leg strap to actually do its thing. Right? Alright. So, that's that. So now you can see there's a nice little dent or breakage in the silhouette. Right? Now, this is obviously right side heavy. Is okay. No? So do I want to make something on his left? even more prominent. Well, this one's already here, right? Now, okay, so this looks better, because you know it's okay. It's a pouch. It's got to be a pouch, right? Or an object that's hanging from his waist. Now, this part's a bit tricky because it is a belt buckle. I've done it so it's kind of metalish, or has like metal properties, right? But the leather strap that holds it is very flimsy, very malleable. Alright, let's leave that there for now. Really important. Nunchuck holders. Inflate. A little bit more volume. Now this will interfere with the printing. So I'm just gonna move it here a little. Where it kind of hugs his shell. And this will be printed relatively okay from what I've experienced. This one's a little bit more refined, so I'm not too sure. But that's where testing comes when it comes to machinery, which I should show you. So I create my figurines using a 3D printer, right? And using plastic resin. I do recommend having a very high ventilated area because the fumes do smell and they're not very good for you. There is filters for the machines, but at a later date I'll show you my kind of setup and how I do it. But that's for a later date. That's for a higher production value. Yes, I don't know. Well. So the difference between Michael and his two previous brothers is that he actually has a mouth. And I feel Michael's, a lot of his personality comes into his face, right? He's energetic, he's goofy, he likes to have a fun time, even when he's fighting against Shredder and them lot, you know? Just having a good old time. Now, I didn't notice that most of the turtles are from different species of turtles. Oh, that's right. Different variety of turtles. Like, Leonardo was like a red ear thing, turtle, I think. Raphael is more of a snapper turtle. Michael and Donatello, I'm not too sure. I figured. So this is like a very handy program if you want to have a reference on the side. So these are the previous models I did. I can't recover my first ever character, Ethel Wolf, because he's in the whole hard drive. And then we have Young Blue, a recent project, Sage from Valorant. I do hope to do them as well. And this is my main dragon New Year collection. And obviously we have the turtles, right? Raphael, Leonardo, Michael and Donatello, and then Splinter, which are R.I.P. Rest in peace. Well, he's in the hard drive just sleeping, I guess. But yeah. Oh, it does take over my camera. I guess camera will always be on top. Didn't realize I disappeared. So yeah, that's a very handy tool for when you want reference. Alright. So what I do generally like to do, select the eyes, and then zoom out, have a spin around my model, see any areas that just sticks out like a sore thumb for me. And for me, it's kind of Mikey's grin. I just messed up. I think I can curve it out more, right? Now, I do remember watching the Taylor movies number 3, where they go back in time to ancient Japan. That was a good movie. Back in time, Turtles Back in Time. I think that's the word. They always said, "Oh, we have beaks, but they're not birds." You know. That scene where they're like in the forest, in the water, and Raphael's enjoying the nature. I'm sure you guys will remember it when you see it. Yeah. So there's this weird issue. There's this weird issue with his eyebrows. So there's this plugin called Transpose Master, and what it does is compresses all the tools you see on the side, puts it at its lowest resolution, so it's easier to adjust. And what I'm gonna do is kind of fix these eyes. Now, because all the objects are separated from the previous file, I can just select what I want to adjust, right? So I'm gonna mask off his eyes because his eyes needs to stay there. I'm just gonna push and pull till I get a shape. That's good. That's a really extreme, you know, because Raph kind of has his like angular look, right? Mikey, I want to make him a little bit softer, more round base. Like even his nose, right? His beak. Okay. That was a bit too extreme. Have a little bit of a rounded chin, right? Now these tweaks are very minor, but you kind of want to do it bit by bit, because if you kind of like do something like this, you know, it's very hard to fix afterwards. You know, oh, it's like, oh, I want to go back. Obviously, you can press undo, but it's just a lot more work, unnecessary work for you to do. So you just want to do it bit by bit, right? Just until you're happy with it. So now, as you see, his head is much more rounder previous. Now, bit too round. Well, okay, I like that. So let's then I go back to the Z plugin, press T-pose subtool, and ZBrush does its magic, where it recreates what you've done and places it on your high res, right? So now he's a much more rounder. He has a much more rounder head. His eyebrows a little bit better, but you can see kind of the difference, right? There you go. So this is what it was before, and this is what it is now, right? So you can see. Oh, I should actually. You can see his head's a bit rounder. His eyebrows a little bit more puffier, less angular, and just a little bit more of how I want him. So now, obviously, because I didn't adjust the hat, but I just do a little bit tweaks here and there, to make sure that they intersect nicely.